Hello, everybody, and welcome to Moohead Radio. Sorry, we've been a little out of it lately. I'm here in Ohio. I've made it. I've been running around trying to get everything squared away, everything from my license plate registration here in Ohio, which I just finally said, fuck it, and just did it for 5 years because I'll be coming back here. God willing, I'll be coming back here for more than 5 years, I would hope. But at any rate, we arrived here on Tuesday and were immediately confronted with getting, well, we got here Monday night, and Topaz, the doggy, he came in on Tuesday on the doggy transport, and he hasn't been feeling well, and we think he has a urinary tract infection, so he's on medication. So I had to go out to the vet, and the swimming pool, which is going to be early open here, has to get open tomorrow. So it's some kind of a clusterfuck. But I wanted to talk about the Cavaliers game because it was such an important game, and one of these things that was just really hard to watch, to be very honest with you, for a number of reasons. And I wanted to go over some of those reasons today. I know that tonight is all NFL related, and I don't give a flying fuck. I don't care about Jimmy Haslam. I don't care who they draft. And, you know, they're going to try to persuade us we're doing everything we can to get both Hunter and Sanders in the first round. And, you know, Jimmy can't accept that he fucked the organization up the second that he bought it, and that there's no 1 or 2 year fix to the hole he's dug himself into. So to hell with that. Hello to Double P. And I don't expect there to be many people hanging around. Bronk is in the studio with us, but he is munching down a salad, and it was so disruptive with his volume on the microphone that you wouldn't have been able to hear me. I'm just fucking with him, but
no, that's true, actually.
You would sound like a grazing cow there, you know it?
Well, it is 8:00 here in the evening, and
That's true. You know, I keep forgetting. Me and Michael McDonald keep forgetting.
Great.
Well, yesterday's game, the first thing people bring up was Tony Brothers and the officiating of the game.
Really?
All
right. Okay. Tell me about it, because I watched it. I wasn't all that bothered by them, but maybe that's just me.
Well, before I get into the officiating, the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about is, and I keep telling people, and I don't reach enough people. I really wish that I had the kind of broad listenership that some of these podcasts nowadays have, but I just, I'm burned out, and I don't want to try to find 1,000 followers on TikTok so I can, and what do I want, a bunch of people on TikTok fucking the show up live for? I mean, you'd end up with all kinds of people who would just be spamming the program. But what bothered me is that if you were where I am right now and you tried to watch that game on NBA TV, you were blacked out. Now, I don't understand.
Seriously? You're blacked out?
Yes. I mean, and it's a shame that David Talevsky isn't with us right now because he doesn't know we're on the air. But yeah, he was chatting with me, and everybody there was a fan in Columbus who was blacked out in Columbus, out of a Cleveland game. I'm not kidding you. NBA TV was blacked out in Northeast Ohio all the way down to Columbus. You couldn't watch the fucking game, and there was no way to watch the game. So
that's fucked up.
Yeah, it really is fucked up.
I wouldn't have been able to help you because, as you know, and probably a few other people remember, is that I can watch the games on Great Britain betting sites for free if you bet on the game. And I've seen a lot of playoff games, and I saw last night's game with Brad Daugherty and Serena Williams and that feed, which I thought was, nice. You usually get the home stadium feed.
Yeah, and again, it's why I urge people, for everything that you pay for, that it's
Don't.
like, I'm buying a service. The fans were all screaming on Twitter.
That's unbelievable. That blows my mind.
I mean, the amount of money that I'm paying for this, and I'm blacked out of the Cavaliers game, against each, just because the NBA decided to fuck Northeast Ohio and put them on NBA TV instead of putting them on a national kind of platform. And it's all horseshit. And the smartest thing you can do is to do what a lot of people are doing, and that is to find your own streaming methodologies through the gray market. And the reason is you're going to keep getting dumped on. You're going to keep getting price increases, like YouTube TV and all this. And I couldn't believe, I read something that said YouTube TV is making this, grand announcement that you don't have to now get the package that they want you to get. You can choose and pick and choose what channels you get at what fucking cost. That thing opened up at $44 a month, and now it's over $100 a month for fucking YouTube TV. And what in the hell do you need that for? And, all these blackouts, the only way to get around it is, one day I watched a stream literally from Sweden to watch the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's just unbelievable. So, if you're waiting for the NBA to think of Cleveland as being an equal market, it doesn't matter how good we are. It doesn't matter. They want Cleveland to lose. The league wants Cleveland to lose, which leads me into Tony Brothers and his officiating crew. I have never in my life witnessed such a concentrated effort to try to get the other team back in the game with some of the most ridiculous officiating that made no sense whatsoever. And the one sequence that just absolutely floored me was the foul that was called when Bam was taking a fadeaway, and they called a foul on Mobley because he nicked him on the forearm. When the previous down the court, our guy got slaughtered going to the basket, and there was no call. Yeah. But what they did that was even more significant was when we inbounded the ball after the free throws, and there was what it amounted to was I'm trying to phrase this correctly. The rule of proximity on a foul that it ended up that they not only got the free throws, but they got a jump ball out of it.
Correct.
But there was nothing but 3 Cavaliers uniforms and the ball in Evan Mobley's hands after the foul was called.
Yep.
3 of us. And they said, no, we're going to go ahead. And of course, Miami wins the tip. And I'm sure that they tossed it sideways for them too.
That play was amazing because Brad Daugherty absolutely lost his shit watching that. And what happened was Hero, I think, kicked out, and Jared Allen sort of like partially may have grazed him, may not have. And then they spent 5 minutes looking at the replay. Realized that he didn't fucking get anywhere near him. And Hero was doing this unusual dance step while he was shooting. So they had to save face.
Yes.
By saying save face is the big thing here. By saying it was a jump ball instead of the ball landing right into Evan Mobley's lap, right by the baseline, when we should have had a side out under the basket and had a chance to put. And then the tip did go the wrong way.
Now so that should be. If it's not going to be examined because this is what the league wants.
Yeah.
And so you think it's bad in Cleveland? Wait till you get into Miami. All right. The officiating in general in this game was exceedingly one-sided, and you got the feeling that as the game progressed and once the game got tighter, the bizarre calls got weirder, and they weren't calling fouls equally on each side.
Yeah.
And look, I understand that it's physical, and I think this is one of the reasons why the playoffs, is a more physical game. Yeah, it's the league having more control over who gets fouls and who doesn't.
Correct. And
they could rape somebody.
It was a lot more neutrality earlier in the game. Now that's what you want. You want consistency. I would say the foul calling in the first half, in the third quarter, was more normal. But then it got really egregious, as you say, culminating in this Evan Mobley rebound that didn't happen.
A 24-7 run by the Miami Heat, and in us trying to take the ball to the basket, and that wasn't going to work.
No.
And they were just, and again, I don't mind a physical game. And I know that the NBA wanted a physical game because before this game ever started, the thing that I wanted to remind everybody on Twitter about is that if the Cavaliers score their season average, there's 122 points. There's no way the Heat can score 122 points.
No, they don't have the talent.
They don't have the firepower. And in the first game, you saw that came to pass. Now, the first quarter of yesterday's game was all Miami, keeping that score in the 100-point area. And that's how the Heat win. The Heat win close games that are low-scoring games.
Yeah.
When the Cavaliers blew the doors off it with a 43-point second period, that just changed everything. Suddenly, we were at 68 points at halftime.
Yeah.
And, and it changed the entire focus of the game. Miami came out, and it was interesting when the lead blew up, they started trying to up-tempo the game, and you saw what happened to them. I mean, what Miami was trying to do tempo and transition up the floor, they were just getting their little pee-pees whacked because they can't do that. That's not what they do.
Yeah.
So for a team to come back from as many points as they were behind in the amount of time, they needed help. And what the officials did for them is they kept calling fouls that were phantom fouls that kept stopping the clock. Correct. And so it maximized the time that they needed.
They needed to have, yes.
And it gave them free points while the clock was stopped. And it did everything that it could to bring that game closer together. Now, anyone with eyes saw what happened, and it was infuriating, and it never gets mentioned in the national media. But there is more to this that I think I want to talk about. And that's that if you know going in the realities, which if you're Cleveland, you're not going to get calls. And the best you can hope for is to play your best basketball. Play your style of basketball, and you go down with the ship. That's the best thing you can do. And the Cavaliers didn't do it. In the fourth quarter of yesterday's game, the Cleveland Cavaliers reverted to ISO ball hoggery, and it made me vomit.
Wow.
Because we got the lead by playing pinball with the basketball. It was firing on all cylinders all around, and guys getting open looks, and everyone setting everyone else up, and hitting cutters down low. All you have to do, and I know what the story is afterwards because it's always the same NBA thing. Well, the Cavaliers won because their superstar carried them to victory. But at no time was it necessary for Donovan Mitchell to have the conclusion that he had. In fact, Donovan Mitchell, in his most recent string of three-point shots, has sucked so badly that the biggest surprise was that they were going in when they needed to in the fourth quarter yesterday. And I commend him for doing it, but it should never have come to that. Why we were just dribbling the ball over the half court line and just throwing the ball back and forth to each other 38 feet from the basket, I have no fucking idea. That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I got Hammer Time in here. Hi, Jim. And
hey, how's it going?
Good. But it should never have come to that point where, we should have gotten timeout, and it's like, okay, we got to run our plays. But from the beginning of the game, that first quarter, and again, I warned people on social media that they were going to run two men blindly at the ball handler. And it just isn't Donovan Mitchell. It would be whoever was bringing the ball up the court. You saw it happen to Ty Jerome, where guys were just flying up to him and trapping him on the sidelines and cutting down passing lanes. They were going to do whatever they could to get easy points, because they don't get easy points. Everything that they hoist up is a mid-range or a three. That's Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, or Davion Mitchell, and they don't have. And Andrew Wiggins can help some, but Andrew Wiggins has never been a consistent percentage shooter in his NBA career, so you can't count on him. Davion Mitchell has been really good recently, but boy, if you're really counting on him for the playoffs, you're going to have some kind of a problem. It puts an inordinate weight on the shoulders of Hero and Adebayo, and Duncan Robinson isn't, fast enough to get the separation that he needs to get. He's more of a set shooter. He's more of a Sam Merrill kind of guy.
Sam Merrill, absolutely. Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
A stationary shooter. He's a spot up guy. So, who do they have who, it's not like their center Ware is going to bombard you. You saw when he tried to throw up something from behind the arc, it could be pretty ugly. There were some, the last shot.
Jovic was a real spark off the bench as well. I think he was kind of, especially since he hasn't played for so long.
Well, he has some height and he has some mobility. You know what it was like? It was, and how tall is Jovic?
6'10".
Yeah, I mean, so he can shoot over
That's
people.
Tall.
You can't
shoot over me.
You can't teach 6'10".
But he also can drive down the lane and get around people. So, I mean, he gave them.
Did a heck of a good job at halftime of changing things up a lot.
And this was the other thing I warned before the game, is that they have a really good coach. And this particular coach doesn't, at this point in his career right now, doesn't have the luxury of the great rosters that he's had in the past. Let's be nice about this.
They never mentioned that the fact that he won his championships with LeBron. But getting back to last night, the other thing, that the other person that was good was Highsmith was out of his skin at the 3-point line. Mm-hmm. He must have like 6 or 7 3-pointers. It was just insane.
Well, looking at the box score, I mean, Wiggins was only 3 of 10 from the floor.
Okay.
But the real thing that really killed him was that Adebayo was only 3 of 9. He only scored 11 points.
Yeah, he wasn't scoring it like normal either.
No.
And Davion Mitchell was 7 of 9, 2 of 4 from behind the arc, and he scored 18 points. But the interesting thing, and here's the dilemma if you're Spoelstra, is that Davion Mitchell, in his 36 minutes on the floor, and he got extended minutes, he put up 18, but his plus minus was a -6. So
defend.
And Wiggins was a -9.
He was in there in that second quarter where they got shellacked.
Correct.
Everybody's minus was, kind of boosted up in that second quarter, at least for the Heat.
Well, but there's a reason for this. Take a look at Duncan Robinson was only in the game for 12 minutes. He hit 1-3 where the guy was draped all over him, and I was amazed the ball went in. But in 12 minutes, he had a -17 number.
Wow.
I mean, he is a complete defensive liability. I mean, Sam Merrill is sitting at home going, what the fuck are they calling him a Sam Merrill for? I at least try to play Duncan Robinson, a guy named Duncan who can't dunk. What is all that about?
Dave Duncan.
Yeah, but Highsmith had a real game. 27 minutes. He was 6 of 7, and at 5 of 6 from 3. But he was a -6.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't going to come back without his shooting. I mean, that was a one-off. That was an aberration.
But I think Jovic is going to get more time. He got 25 minutes in this game. He had 8 rebounds. He had 11 points, and he had a +2 on the court. So that. Just ducky. But you take a look at what the Cavaliers didn't get, and this is what bothers me. Where did everybody go in the fourth quarter? Why was Darius Garland limping around like Festus from Gunsmoke?
Yeah, he looked definitely, especially the last 4 minutes, it looked like somebody just shot him in the leg or something. I don't know what the deal was there.
And so he ended up with the follow-up on the dubious Donovan Mitchell. Instead of taking the ball away from the basket 5 up, went to the basket to score, missed the layup, but Darius followed it up, and he got off the ground and put it in.
Yeah.
But where was Darius Garland in the fourth quarter, and why was he limping around? Because I can't find anything on the internet about this.
I don't know why. Oh, this reminds me, another obscure, weird refereeing call was the obvious out of bounds play that was never, ever out of bounds. I mean, why did it have to be that Atkinson had to review that play when the ball was at least a foot inside the court?
If you force the coach to give up the few that he has,
their timeouts.
That means every lousy call you make thereafter goes totally unquestioned.
I mean, is that what you're thinking? Is that what you're thinking they did? Because that anybody with a brain could have seen that ball wasn't out of bounds,
Right, but they can call it and force you to do that. I mean, it is way too corrupt for my tastes. But again, some of this the Cavaliers brought upon themselves, and Kenny Atkinson, as much as said so in the post-game presser, that their defense didn't do what it was supposed to do, and offensively, the ball movement just stopped. And here are the facts. There are players who had, for the second straight game, the bench, Dean Wade had 0, all right? But he only played 6 minutes.
Yeah, he didn't touch the ball, I don't think.
Okoro made 1 from the corner, and that's the only thing that he did, and he only had 10 minutes. Ty Jerome did not have a great game. He was 2 of 8 from the floor, and he was short-arming a lot of those little floaters things to the lane.
Exactly. But they were guarding him, too, this time.
He played a lot of minutes in the last game, and you have to ask yourself, is he really best in certain dosages,
Correct. He is. Yeah, absolutely. We've said this before. And,
but still, Ty was a +10 on the court. Everyone on the bench for the Cavaliers, even though it wasn't, DeAndre Hunter was 4 of 10, which still isn't good shooting for him, but he was 2 of 4 from 3. He had 12 points, but he was a +12 on the floor. So he contributed from the lineup that he was playing. And even Sam Merrill with 20 minutes in the game, which pisses a lot of Cavaliers fans off. There's a fight within the Cavaliers fans between Isaac Okoro and Sam Merrill, but Isaac Okoro couldn't throw a ball straight if you gave him a chance. I mean, he'd be a great fucking relief pitcher, a middle relief pitcher who throw off-speed junk because
Wickman.
Yeah, so help me God. The early goings here, the first game and later in the season, earlier in the season, at the end of the season, he was throwing up corner threes that were hitting the side of the backboard that were missing the rim completely. I mean, it's like, and I didn't see a definitive difference in the Cavaliers' defense when Isaac Okoro was on the floor trying to stop Davion Mitchell. He was still getting around Okoro. So all this talk, well, he's a great defender. It's like, would you stop defending Okoro? He got 10 minutes, and he shouldn't get that maybe, but he's going to get it because you don't want to tire out your groups of people. But when you had a lineup on the floor that had Dean Wade, Isaac Okoro in the court at the same time, right? No, the problem is, where is your offense going to come from? You have two guys who you don't want handling the ball, and I understand that was the defensive alignment, and they did a good job, but when you have a 15, 17 point lead, that's really cool, but in a close, tight game, and you're going to Miami, you can't afford to have droughts. As far as the starting lineup, I mean, Evan Mobley had 20 points. He was 7 of 10 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3-point. But where was he in the fourth quarter? And these things bother me. He made 2 fucking free throws, and he never saw the ball. That's why Evan Mobley was invisible in the fourth quarter. His teammates, all these people who keep saying, he's really a burgeoning superstar, they don't trust him, or else the ball would be finding its way into his hands. There's one guy, and that's Donovan Mitchell, one guy who will eat the ball every time. And he had a great finish, and he's been a proven fourth quarter player. God bless him, but we're not going to beat the Celtics. We're not going to get deeper in the playoffs doing that. You have to have a team. I mean, and if you look at what Miami was doing when they came back, yes, Tyler Hero was making a lot of pull-ups, and he was getting into the lane, and he was making a lot of 10 to 16, 17-foot jump shots. Yep. But you were pointing out quite correctly, Bronk, that they had Highsmith contributing.
Yeah.
The ball was moving around, and they were getting open shots for people.
Yep.
So, I just and then our offense would come over midcourt, and almost, what it reminded me of, and I go back in time because I'm older than the viewers who watch the program, but it was like Marty Schottenheimer.
Oh God!
With a lead, sitting on a lead, and relying on the defense to get it done.
We actually went into the Stefanski fourth quarter offense, I think, to the
Jim Tressel.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like bury your head in the sand like an ostrich and hope the time runs out and you're still ahead. I don't understand, and I know that that's not the way Kenny Atkinson coaches. Correct. But the players look like they froze in the moment and reverted back to JB Bickerstaff ball.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. And it bothers me whenever Donovan Mitchell refers to himself as the leader of this team. I have to lead by example. It's like, shut the fuck up. This is a team. And as many games as Donovan Mitchell helps you win, Ty Jerome has helped win in a bunch of games. Darius Garland has helped us win a bunch of games. And the fact that neither of these players or Evan Mobley, your budding superstar, or Jared Allen, none of them were getting their hands on the basketball. They weren't even seeing the ball.
Yeah, Mitchell was holding the ball for 12 seconds per possession.
He was Jalen Brunsoning is what he was doing, and that's just selfish. And you're not going to you're not, they're going to run 2 out at you. If they play that way in Miami, it's going to be 2-2 coming back to Cleveland. They have to find one good game in Miami, and it was imperative that they win last night because now they have, 5 games to win 2, right? That's correct. The mathematics of it.
Yeah.
But if you win 1 in Miami, then it's over. And we don't have we won this year in Miami, but we have a bad history there.
Well, I think playing a Saturday afternoon game is just a recipe for trouble. We're shit on weekend games and we're shit on day games, and have a Saturday playoff game. that's on international TV. I think that's I would take.
It's a setup.
Points.
Yeah, it's a setup. And, you know, as far as the Miami Heat goes, 112 points. They did their job offensively with the help, a little help from their friends. But you look at the stats, and Miami, as a team, made 51.9% of their field goal tries.
They did.
And 35.6 from behind the arc.
They did.
And they had the refs in their pocket. It still wasn't enough.
It wasn't, no.
Now, the Cavaliers on the other side had 47.6% from the floor, but 48.9, which is kind of a misleading number because at halftime, my God, they were like, I want to say 13 to 17 or some such crazy number from
they
three.
Shot some ridiculous 12 or something in the second quarter or something, 11 or 12.
The Cavaliers had the record in the second quarter. Yeah,
I read that in the fourth quarter that they were like, it was like some horrible number, like 4 of 15.
Yeah.
And you know, you can't play this way. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. Strus was on fire early on. I mean,
oh God, yeah.
My God, I mean, he was just pulling up and firing, you know. But again, the 3-point shot there's a time and a place. Like my favorite time for a 3-point shot is when you've cleared the ball out of the backcourt and you're coming over the, in transition, and there's Sam Merrill on the wing as part of a fast break, and he just goes ahead and shoots the three. I love that.
Yeah.
Because Sam Merrill, if he puts the ball on the floor, you're doomed.
Thinks about it, yeah.
Yeah. But give him the trigger. In that case, that's fine. But I don't like this. Let's see if I can get a rip-through call and get a shot up and get 3 free throws. They don't call it because you're relying on the officials to be
impartial,
equitable. Yeah. And it doesn't work that way. And the next thing you know, you've thrown up an air ball. They have the ball, and now they're going in transition, and you're arguing, I got fouled. And then, the ball goes dunk down at the other end. But the Cavaliers were responsible also for the lead going away. And they cannot afford to regress and play that way. That's the message that I bring forth. But I still want some feedback about Darius Garland, because he wasn't just limping. He was limping in such an exaggerated way that, you know what I thought? The first thing I thought, he's checking out. He's doing the famous Darius Garland goes away in the playoffs trick.
Oh, you mean the Bill Cosby, let's pretend I'm hurt so that when I get beat, I don't look so bad.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't want the ball. He would flip the ball to Donovan Mitchell and limp to the corner and stand there. And I'm like, what in the fuck? If he's that hurt, get somebody else in the game. The way he was limping up and down the court, you know what? It reminded me of when I would pull a calf muscle on the tennis court.
All right.
And you got to get off the court because you'll just do more damage to it. You can't extend that. It will tear further. And it looked like to me a calf muscle that was like a grade 1, and nobody's talking about it. It was obvious on television.
Maybe he was just having
nowhere. There is absolutely nothing on the internet about him.
It's incredible.
I mean, while we were here, I've been searching through a bunch of stuff. There is nothing that says anything about him limping. And if all 3 of us noticed it, and we're not, NBA coaches, you don't think that, when they look at game film, somebody else isn't going to see this? I mean,
I mean, if he was cramping, then they should get him off and give him fluids.
And that, that might have been what it was, but it looked like a knee, or like you said, a muscle, or it wasn't really an ankle, but it looked like his knee was bothering him, or his hip was bothering him, or it was significant limp.
But the thing
especially was, when that one time right there towards the end of the game, when he was like underneath the basket and he walked over and he was like, he looked like me. He looked like he needed a cane to keep going. I don't know what the deal was.
Yeah. It was an exaggerated limp, but after the game, in the immediate post game,
yeah.
No, not only no one talked about it, he's just walking up to Serena. It's like, he's walking up to the microphones afterwards saying, we attacked Tyler Hero. That was really the key to our offense, was just really isolating him and making him play more defense, because the strategy is to go after their weak defenders. That was that.
Wow.
But Darius Garland was not like limping around for the world to see. And you would think that if it were cramp, they would be hydrating him.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
I have no idea. But if you put in Darius Garland limping game 2.
I did. I specifically did. That is
unreal.
So crazy. That's the exact words that I used. I said Darius Garland limping. And then I did Darius Garland injury, and it brought me back to like the stuff from last year where he broke his jaw. But yeah, it was like
nothing.
Well, and I don't understand. There are things about
why is it?
No, it's
other
like
people have searched it too, because there's like a half of different things here.
Oh right, yeah. If you got other people doing it, then you get different alternative questions.
Okay, so this was, how far back was this? They're talking about he had a left toe against the Pacers, but how long ago was that?
That was
towards
they
the
made
last
a
week
point.
of the season.
The only reference that was ever made was that Darius Garland was full speed ahead for game 2. Now, why would they say that when he was never on the injured list? If you look up the injury reports and read the stories,
there's nothing.
It's nothing, but you read before game 2 was ever played, it's like what the situation was with injuries, and they're all quoting the exact same thing, saying Darius Garland is healthy. It is a go for the game. It's like, why would I question that?
Wow.
But something's wrong, because and then all of a sudden he starts limping at the end of that game. I don't know.
Wow.
But they said he was given a clean bill of health in every one of the articles. Those were the words. A clean bill of health. What was wrong with him that he cleared himself from? I don't know.
Yeah, if you get a clean bill of health, that means you've been checked out and there was something wrong with you.
Well, there's also a little AI thing in here that talks about that he had been playing with some pain in the previous game against the Knicks. So, and it was actually, they also said been dealing with a left hip contusion. But that makes sense because the way he was walking,
Right. Yeah,
but this is just an AI. I'm like, this was some search. This had to go back a ways to try to find this crap. So
the other thing that I don't understand is why Darius Garland has to shoot his mouth off and get a little bit. I don't like this braggadocious stuff, and it's like, somebody asked you after the game, what was it that you were told that the team was told to do defensively? And you come out and you just say, pick on Tyler Hero. Why?
Yeah.
Why would you? First of all, you never divulge what is being talked about in your locker room, and you don't want to piss off their leading scorer. Now, do you?
Yeah, that's like releasing your plans on a WhatsApp app. You don't really want to do that.
Somebody really needs to shut that pipsqueak's mouth up, because that isn't the proof that you're deserving to go deep into the playoffs and go to the finals and try to win a championship. It isn't your mouth that gets it done. But yeah, that really pissed me off when I saw that. It's like, why?
Wow. Why?
And as far as Donovan Mitchell, it again, I don't want to complain about Donovan Mitchell per se, but the whole team decided to just hand it to him and say, "Here you go, Donovan." And that really scares the hell out of me that we're still the same team that lost to the Knicks. You can't have 4 men on the floor defer to one. It's a 5-man game, and that's what got you the 18-point lead, for Christ's sake. It was an ISO ball and hero ball. It wasn't that at all. So these are things just to be on the lookout for. The good news was that the Cavaliers shot 91.7% from the free throw.
21 to 23. I'm looking at that right now.
Right. And so that is
well, okay, you can have a go at the referees for being impartial, but they shot more free throws, the Cavs. So
yeah, it's
explain that. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's all in the timing.
It's yeah, okay.
And it's as much what you don't call as what you do.
The non-calls are more important than
there was a Tyler Hero 3-point attempt, and he missed the shot.
He did,
but he was in front of the 3-point arc, and I think he was further in front of it than he thought. He faked up to get the guy off his feet, and then he took 3 little baby steps to get behind the arc and shoot the shot. It's like, what the fuck is this? This isn't basketball. This isn't even according to the rules. I mean,
Brad Daugherty saw that too. Yeah,
I can tell you exactly what he looked like. He looked like Fred Flintstone's approach on the bowling lane.
Yeah, little twinkle toes.
Yeah, exactly.
The little.
What the hell? I was like,
I remember that well. It was bizarre, but yeah, the Cavs have more free throws. But you're right, it's the timing. Now I'm just thinking whether the ref. I've watched a lot of these other games too. And there have been times where the refs have looked very normal, and then they'll pull out something out of their ass that is just unbelievable. I think the NBA just wants longer series. They don't want, 4 sweeps, which there should be based on the talent levels of these teams out here. I don't think they just want longer series, so there's more games and more viewership and more gambling money and all that.
The one thing that I'm noticing is that the only place that Ja Morant can shoot is on the street.
Oh, ow.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, Oklahoma City is just going to cascade their way into the second round. The Cavaliers have every opportunity in the world to go into Miami and to put their foot down and say, and there you're going to have to play a stifling defensive game, and you're going to have to play physical basketball because, believe me, down 2-0 in must-win games for Miami is going to be committing about 50 fouls in the game. I guarantee you.
Oh, correct, yeah.
Because this is the only way they can win is to keep the score down. And the only way you can do that is impede the progress of the offensive player and not get called for it. Because if you get called for it, you give up free throws and you'll fall behind. So there's that, and the headlines like, how the Cavs' Evan Mobley used a quiet playoff opener as fuel for his Game 2 dominance. I would not call that dominance, folks.
No, I wouldn't either.
A man who doesn't touch the ball except to get 2 free throws in the fourth quarter, that is not dominant. His team didn't let him be dominant. And at some point, all this unicorn talk, somebody's got to buy into it so that plays are actually run for him. Until I see that, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
So
Spoelstra's trying to do everything he possibly can to win. I mean, him changing his lineup and Khalil Ware and playing him, and then finding out that that's not going to work, and then putting in Duncan Robinson, finding out that's not going to work, and putting in this other foreign guy, Jovic, was hurt, and finding out that's not going to work. I mean, you don't know what he's going to try to do for game 3.
He's pulling every lever he knows how to pull to try to find something that works. But he doesn't have the firepower.
No, I mean, Highsmith is never going to score 5 or 6 on threes ever again in a playoff game.
But I don't think Adebayo is going to score 11 again.
Correct.
So, but again, if it's just a trade-off and a trade-off, they're not going to hit, and it's like the Cavaliers had 68 points and then they petered out.
Correct.
All right. And at the end, they started making the 3-point shots Donovan did, and that was that. But, again, 122 in the first game, 121 in the second. It doesn't matter how you get there. Miami can't get there.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of teams in the league that can. The Pacers
maybe
can.
In an isolated game, but Hero is going to take a lot of shots because he's their leading guy.
Yeah.
And it would take Adebayo to have a game
20-point game at least.
It would have to be more like 25 points, and he would have to be hitting threes and have a ferocious rebounding game. And, and then Davion Mitchell would have to have a big game. Andrew Wiggins would have to have, a 25-point game. You would need to have these things happening simultaneously, not individually. So, the odds are, if you look at their season, they don't score that many points.
Yeah.
But the Cavaliers, the thing that's funny is Cavaliers averaging 122. And they've been right there in the first 2 games, but with completely different production.
Correct.
A game in which DeAndre Hunter scored 0, that Isaac Okoro scored 0, that Dean Wade scored 0. But then Ty Jerome scores 28. Yeah. I mean, the Cavaliers are finding the points, and that therein lies Spoelstra's big problem. I wanted, before I get off the air here, I wanted to share something that just sometimes out of the mouths of babes, the Guardians actually won a home series against the Yankees.
I've totally ignored the Guardians the past week, and they're winning.
God bless America. Great. It was a beautiful thing. So you know what they had on the national media today?
What?
The Yankees are back in the top 4. After
aren't the Guardians leading the league?
They just lost 2 or 3 to the Guardians and looked pretty crappy in doing it. But God, the national media I just want to it is so brutal. But that's the first thing I heard on the radio this morning. And then I turned over to the NBA, and guess which team they were talking about?
The Boston Celtics.
They used to, well, you're on the right track. They used to be in Minneapolis, okay?
Yeah. The Lakers.
The freaking Lakers. That's all they could talk about this morning was the Lakers. And I'm just like,
they lost. They lost their first game. What in the world makes
you
think?
They were horrible. I watched that game.
Some big 3, They
were horrid. They looked like LeBron showed up and only wanted to play 5 minutes of the 40 that he played. He had that one nice chase down block, and that was it.
But calling what they have, Austin Reeves and LeBron and Doncic, a big 3. That's like ridiculous. Calling a 3-inch penis a big 3.
That's like calling you, Hammer, and me a big 3.
Well, we are a big 3. Well, we're big. And there's 3 of us.
Yeah, there's 3 of us. We're not.
But, the Guardians bring up 2 guys, and one of them, Zach Kent. All right. Clark's brother.
Or Jeff's brother?
No, they pulled him out of a phone booth. This is a relief pitcher. He's 27 years old, which seems to be the prototype of the Guardian relief players that they're bringing up are 27-year-old, 28-year-old Schneemann, and now this other guy, I want to say his name. Let's see if I can pull it out of my ass now. Will Wilson. Is that his name?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Wow.
Yeah, that's another one. And he's 28 years
Never
old.
heard of him.
Yeah, well, neither there's anybody else. But Zach Kent's first go in the league, he had to face the hottest hitter in the major leagues, Aaron. We, members of the media, suck his dong, Judge. And he's this guy, 27 years old. He was drafted by Texas. He's had multiple injuries, grinding through the minor leagues. 7 years in the fucking minor leagues.
7 years.
Before getting his chance alongside Will Wilson. Okay. That was the other guy that they had at third base because they were resting, Hosey from the field. The moment that defined Kent's debut came in the 7th inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Standing at the plate was Aaron Judge, who had been tormenting Cleveland pitching.
Yeah.
The sequence went like this: 2 sliders followed by a curveball outside the zone. Then came the moment that revealed Kent's extraordinary confidence when Judge stepped out of the batter's box to collect himself, down 1-2 of the count. Kent saw vulnerability, not intimidation. Kent basically said, and this is coming from talk radio, that when he saw Judge step out of the box, that Zach knew he had him at that moment. Can you believe this? A 27-year-old guy who hasn't pitched in the major leagues. This is
I got him now.
Out of the
probably the best player in the game right now, as far as
my God, I just want to,
and he got him.
Even Hoynesy. Yes, he's still alive. After hearing things put that way, Paul Hoynes said, hopefully Aaron Judge doesn't read that because he might run into Zach the next time they meet.
Might not recognize him at all, but
probably put a ball in orbit that won't come back down. They'll stay up longer than the whatever blue whatever the heck it is, Blue Origins racket did. It'll be in the air for 27 minutes.
Speaking of Moohead Radio, there's I don't know whether you guys can get WTAM, but they're on an app for free on my phone here in England. And I was listening to the pregame, and the other day they were interviewing the Cleveland Cavaliers Spanish radio announcer, and he sounded exactly like Moohead's Manny Acta, even to the point where he said, "Well,
yeah, oh yeah, I forget his name."
It's like Fernando Barrios or camera can look him up.
Oh, but when he calls something that happens, he calls a basketball game like a fucking international soccer game.
Yeah. Goal!
Yeah, exactly. He goes ballistic.
Goal!
But I heard him do a call because occasionally on the Cavs feeds, they would,
switch over or
no, they would just when there was a big slam dunk, they would play a sound bite.
They'd play him.
Yeah, and oh my God,
if you ever get a chance to hear him, he sounds exactly like Manny Acta's Moohead or Moohead's Manny.
I step outside of myself, and I go blithered, and I see a slam dunk, and I get a massive erection, and I don't mean this in a bad kind of way. And so it explodes out of my mouth, and I want to say hello to my little friend.
We could have a new feature where you do Manny Acta's play of the game, and you could do the Tyler Hero Phantom foul that the ball goes to Mogul.
No, Manny Acta's play of the day would be like this. And here is the bid to Kyle Manzardo. Oh, he hit the ball along with that ball heading for Monongahela River. Oh, my God. Look at that. Look, I think there was a splash, a big fucking splash, and the next thing you know, I see him running around the base, and it's a home run.
Oh dear.
Forgive me.
I was listening to the radio at halftime, and Mike Snyder was trying to describe the Cavalanche that happened.
Oh yeah, the snowfall.
At Rocket Arena.
Unbelievable.
They actually had snowfall
They
up
had
in the upper
snowfall.
section.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he was actually at a loss for words. It was hilarious.
It was amazing to see because I'm getting the house feed, the Cleveland house feed with no adverts.
Yeah,
and
you get to see the half court, the
dance team and the Pogoliers, the fucking guys on the pogo sticks. Yeah. God damn it, I hate those.
But the thing I don't understand is, if you were really in an avalanche, like a big rock would come and crush you. I mean, it's really nice to
be like Bullwinkle Moose going up the mountain and you go rolling all the way down and Rocky.
Hey, Rocky, I just got crushed by a rock. Yeah. And there's these little twinkly snowflakes coming down. It's like, that is not an avalanche. I want to tell you, the Sierra Madres, there is no fucking snow. Yeah. But yeah, it was clever. I thought it was clever.
Yeah, it was but we had literally gone up like 14-0 in like a minute and a half right before that. So they had that planned. God bless them.
So
I'm tired now. I need a nap.
Don't we all? It is 4:00 and I've done what I set out to do. I did a 3:00 show, but everything here. Everything is going ballistic here. It's 81 degrees right now in Northeast Ohio.
81 degrees in Northeast Ohio.
Hey, do me a favor. Could you do me? Do me a favor, Hammer. What's the temperature supposed to be in Columbus on Saturday? I got to be down that way to pick up a tricycle.
Is that your bike?
Yeah, by trike.
I'm actually off on Saturday. It is a high of 60 in our fair city.
Ooh.
Yep.
With a low of 40. So you're not riding that sucker back, that's for damn sure.
Oh well, no. Yeah. I'm leaving at 10. I'm getting there at noon.
Yeah, it should be nice.
Yeah.
It's high chance of a shower. It's going to be humid and around 60. So it'll be typical Columbus gray skies and
gray day.
Partly sky, Ohio State gray.
Well, don't games start at 1:00 in the afternoon there?
Saturday? 1:00, yeah. There's actually a
watch
party.
Yeah,
there's a watch party here in Columbus at JT's Pizza and Pub.
You mean the Cavaliers?
Yeah, there would be.
I'm gonna miss the game.
You can listen to it on the radio. On the WTAM on you can pick it up on the. You might have to get up early.
No, there's no way I'm going to be able to get that done.
Listen to it on the radio, man. Jim Jones and
it's actually better on the radio anyway.
They're good announcers.
I thought the game was on Sunday.
No, it's Saturday.
It's on Saturday at 1:00. And I don't have volleyball. That's what I was excited about. And last Saturday I went and watched the Guards in Pittsburgh, and it was a beautiful thing watching them beat Paul Skeens. Oh, he was pissed. And the whole stadium starts going,
I'm totally deflated.
Sell the team.
I'm going to miss game 3. How am I going to watch it after the fact even?
Oh, but that I can't help you with. I don't know.
I'm wondering if my system has enough memory in it that I'm going to have to figure out the record.
I don't know if you can capture that.
What network is it on? It's going to be on.
It's the national international network. It's going to be on here.
It's going to be on FanDuel as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, FanDuel, I think, does the last series. So this could be the last 2 games for Serena and Brad Daugherty and all that if the Cavs win both of them.
Yeah, I'll look up what national network
is. Yeah, it's it might be a TNT.
I'm pretty certain it's international. Would probably be
Well,
TNT or ESPN.
hang on. I can go to the app and look this thing up here in a second to tell you, because
if I look it up, it'll just show what I see here in England.
Yeah, you're not gonna.
I can't get it.
I just wonder. I wonder.
You can probably have it on your phone.
All I know is we got about another 4 hours and 10 minutes before the Cleveland Browns managed to F that up.
Oh,
it is on TNT.
TNT is
it's
on TNT, and then I don't know if it's going to be on FanDuel or not. Here.
I think it's on FanDuel too.
It has to be on.
It's on FanDuel also. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll get the national broadcast on TNT, and you get the other one. But I don't know what you guys will have in.
I'm going to practice with my system here. I have a system called an ONN Pro 4K, and it's a Walmart device. It's really a neat little streaming box. I want to see with its resident memory if I can manage to squeeze a game into
you know what'll happen? You'll have the beginning pregame, and then you'll lose the last 5 fucking minutes because it'll only take 2.5 hours or 2 hours.
I'd rather that, because if we're still in the game,
you might be home by then.
You might be home by then, yeah.
Yeah, so you never know.
So. I'll end up with the Miami feed, which is hilarious. So I forget who does them, but they're quite funny.
Because I was listening to it on Sirius XM. They had it on one of their channels on the regular thing. You can get it on the app too, but that's where I had, and they had the Cleveland broadcast feed on whatever it was, Fox Radio or something like that. So
yeah, you'll be able to listen to it definitely.
If I am driving back from Columbus, where would I listen to the game on the radio?
WTAM.
It's not on the radio in Columbus. You'd have to listen to the
WTAM. TAM will not start throwing signal.
Far.
You can listen on the app. You'll have to listen on the app.
Have it on your phone.
Cavaliers Radio Network, Columbus.
Well, I would be getting out of Columbus immediately. The bottom line is I got to figure out between Columbus and home.
The other thing you can do that Hammers, brought up was you can watch it at some bar in Columbus and just don't drink. So you're
welcome to come over and
watch it in Columbus.
We can meet up out there, and there's
the thing is, I gotta.
Actually, 106.3. London, Columbus, which is the wrong part of town.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter anyway. That's a 3,000 watt nothing frequency.
106.3 in Columbus is
how far does TAM go south?
It goes pretty far.
You can kind of pick it up just outside the outer belt, but it's a little staticky.
Yeah, 270. Once you're past 270 and into Delaware.
Well, it's 270.
I'm going to be heading up 71
since the last time you lived here.
I'll be.
It was a while ago.
I'll be heading up 71 north. So
you can pick up. There's a 1440 out of Mansfield. You can pick it up out of pretty good.
But when I'm in that area down south of Mansfield, will I be able to pick up TAM?
106.7 out of Mansfield too. You can usually pick it up out of because sometimes I can pick it up for a while as I'm going, away, and then I start losing it. But there's certain parts. It just depends on what the weather's like and how the signal's bouncing around.
If it's during the
Pete
day.
talking about the.
Where do you think the signal is solid?
Kilowatt. It'll be probably those first Mansfield exits. Once you get past that hill on the first Mansfield exit,
US 30
really solid after that.
All right.
Yep.
Well, gosh, so I got my homework to do, but I thank you both, Hammer and Moose, for joining me on here, and we're gonna.
There you go. You didn't realize you double booked yourself with Game 3.
Well, I didn't know. I booked the appointment for picking up the trike at such a time when I didn't know what the dates were for the games.
Yeah, exactly.
We weren't sure where we were going to fall.
Oh, right. Yeah, so you did it weeks ago. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. I wasn't prescient.
Prescient.
I wonder if I can call the bike guy.
Yeah, call the bike guy. Maybe he'll have an idea.
No. I mean, maybe I can change days. What's it matter to him?
Go on a Monday or Tuesday or something.
Yeah, if he has it ready, if you tell him now and he has it ready for Saturday, he might be kind of thrilled. Say, hey, man, you're giving me an extra day or two here, And what else you got to do?
Yeah, he might.
The thing is, I have to learn how to put the seat on that mother. That's the hardest part of it, because it's kind of a low-seated thing, and put that thing on. You can't be looking at it. You're just doing it by feel. It's Helen Keller,
So what you're saying you got to feel your seat, is what you're saying, right?
It's better than feeling yours, though.
Feel the leather on that seat.
You use both hands on
Corinthian leather.
I
got it.
You have some tools with it? Do you have some tools when you're feeling the seat too?
Yeah, he needs a tool, doesn't he?
Well, I got to feed the doggy. And
how is the doggy? Topaz not well.
Yeah, he on the transport. We think he may have picked up some kind of a UTI or something like that.
He was down in Florida. That's what it was.
And but he's on medication, and he's doing all right. But when he got here, he was not himself at all. Something was wrong, and he urinated on the carpet in this studio. And
that's not normal.
When I tell you that,
you weren't broadcasting at the time.
No,
it wasn't a sign that he didn't like what you were talking about.
The smell was so bad. That's what made me think that it's a UTI, because the concentration of it was just ungodly, and it still smells in the house. We put every kind of solvent on there that we possibly could to neutralize this. So, but he's doing much better now. So, he's got antibiotics, and he has an anti-inflammatory that he's taking. So I just have to stay close to him. So,
I think he caught it on spring break down in Florida. Maybe he ran into Bonnie Blue or something.
Tomorrow maybe I'll give the bike guy a call, because I'm a little nervous about the whole idea of leaving him. If I could set it up for a week from now, the weather would be better, and
looking for Game 7.
Well, I have no idea when these things are going to fall, but the 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I figured, I'm safe.
No.
I was like, wrong.
No.
So actually, you were talking about Garland, so I threw something up on Reddit. So a bunch of people have been replying. One person said, it looked like he took a hard hit on his screen set by Bam late in the fourth. It was limping noticeably afterwards. I doubt it was anything else. And then it says, my guess is he wanted to work through it on the court. Probably knew if he sat down, it would tighten up and he wouldn't be coming back. Somebody else said it looked like he went knee to knee or took a bump to the thigh. And then Hot Dingo 1569 says, most likely due to the size of his balls. So there you go.
There you go.
That's the scientific point of view there.
All right, let me get out of here. I got to tend to the doggy. And thanks, guys, for showing up. And thanks, everybody. It's good to be back in Ohio, and we'll be here all the way through the end of October. So it'll be
make it happen. Come on, Cavs.
Yeah, let's hope that let's hope that it happens. Take care, and I will see you again on Monday, in which I am going. Is that right? No, it would be Friday, wouldn't it?
I don't know. What day is today? I don't know what day
tomorrow
on Monday.
I'll have to figure this one out.
You don't want to do a draft day tomorrow, or one where
I'm so
nobody cares.
annoyed with the Browns right now. whoever they get isn't going to change their fortunes without a front line, without whatever.
No.
All right, everybody, thanks a lot for tuning in, and just keep looking at Twitter. You'll know when I'm on next. I'll see you then. Until then, whenever the hell it is. Hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.